Welcome to another Skywalker commentary. We have to talk. Jamaica is poisoning its own people and culture. There comes a time when silence becomes betrayal in itself. When the rhythm of the land is drowned out by the hum of refrigeration units and the rustle of imported packaging, Jamaica, the land of wood and water, is poisoning itself, not just through what it eats, but through what it forgets. This is not a metaphor. This is a forensic bulletin. We are importing sickness, people. We are exporting memory, and we are calling it development. Let's decode it. The erasure begins in the mouth. Before the shipping containers, before the frozen meats and back cereals, Jamaica fed itself. Yeah, we used to feed ourselves. The hills of Hanover, the valleys of St. Elizabeth, the coastal farms of Portland, they were not just agricultural zones, they were memory banks. Every yam, every breadfruit, every coconut was a download from the ancestors. But now the palate has been hijacked. Imported food doesn't just replace local produce, it rewires desire. It teaches the tongue to crave artificial sweetness, chemically enhanced salt, and textures engineered in labs. Children grow up thinking cheese curls are lunch. Elders begin to question whether the tin callaloo is just as good. This is how cultural sabotage begins, not with violence but with substitution. And once the taste shifts, the memory fades. The will to grow disappears. The lies, the lies they tell us, the lies what they tell us, but let me tell you about lies. The land lies idle while the supermarket shelves overflow. Jamaica forgets that it once fed itself and could do so again. Yeah, we could feed ourselves again, couldn't we? It's chemical warfare in disguise. That's what's happening. Let's speak plainly. Much of the food imported from the United States and other industrial nations arrive with chemical additives, preservatives, and growth enhancers that would never pass ancestral scrutiny. Chicken injected with saline and phosphates to appear plump. Cereals laced with artificial dyes banned in Europe, banned in Europe. Fruits coated in wax and sprayed with ripening agents. Canned goods preserved with BPA, light containers, and sodium overload. Sodium overload. These are not conspiracy theories. These are facts printed on labels if one bothers to read them. And while the exporting nations may tolerate these standards, Jamaica pays a different price. Our bodies, once nourished by organic ground provisions and fresh catch, now wrestle with rising rates of diabetes, hypertension, kidney failure, and cancers. Holy Pagwan. The hospital wards don't lie. The statistics don't lie. The sickness is imported. And yet, the narrative remains it's cheaper, but cheaper, cheaper for whom? The consumer at the check-in line are the pharmaceutical companies profiting from the aftermath, or it's cheaper because less mouth to feed, because someone is gonna die. It is myth. It is the myth that talk about convenience. It is a myth, right? Imported food sells itself as convenient. No need to peel, wash, or cook from scratch. Just microwave, reheat, and serve. But convenience is a myth when it costs you your health and heritage. What's more convenient than picking callaloo from your backyard? What's faster than boiling yam and banana from your own harvest? What's simpler than cracking a coconut for oil, hydration, and flavor? The truth is, imported convenience is designed to make us dependent. It trains us to outsource nourishment, to rely on foreign supply chains, and to forget the rhythm of preparation. It turns the kitchen from a sacred space into a reheating station. And once dependence sets in, sovereignty slips away. It's economic suicide by importation. Every dollar spent on imported food is a dollar not invested in Jamaican farmers, vendors, and, and processors. It's a dollar that leaves the island, never to return. And while foreign companies grow fat on our consumption, local producers struggle to survive. The sick one them struggle to survive too. Farmers can't compete with subsidized foreign goods. Markets flood with cheap alternatives, pushing down prices. Youth lose interest in agriculture, seeing no future in the soil, but then get sick too because of what they eat. This is economic suicide dressed as trade, and it's not accidental, it's systemic. It's systemic because people have medicines to sell. The global food system is rigged to favor industrial giants, not small island nations. And unless we intervene, Jamaica will remain a consumer, not a creator. It's cultural malnourishment. Food is not just fuel, it's identity. It's how we celebrate, mourn, gather, and heal. Yeah, it's our identity. But when our plates are filled with foreign substances, our culture suffers malnourishment. The Sunday pot loses its ritual. The ital stew becomes a memory. The market call fades into silence. And in its place, we get plastic wrapped meals with no story, no lineage, no soul. This is not just about taste, it's about transmission. When children grow up eating imported food, they lose the recipes, the techniques, the ancestral codes embedded in preparation. They lose the ability to feed themselves spiritually. And the culture that cannot feed itself cannot free itself. It's the illusion of safety. The illusion of safety, where there's no safety. Many Jamaicans assume that imported food is safe because it comes from wealthy nations, but wealth does not equal health. In fact, many of the additives and chemicals allowed in US food are banned in Europe, Asia, and even parts of Africa, but we are eat them. So why are we importing what others reject? The answer lies in trade agreements, lobbying, and a lack of local regulation. The government need to do better. Jamaica has become a dumping ground for surplus, a market for access, a market for excess, a consumer of what others won't eat. And while the labels may say safe, the body is still a different story. It's a cycle of dependency. They create dependency in us. Here's the cruel irony. The more we import, the less we produce. And the less we produce, the more we must import. It's a cycle that feeds itself until it collapses. And when it does, what will we eat? If the ships stop coming, if the supply chains break, if the global system falters, will we remember how to grow, harvest, and prepare? Or will we starve with fertile land beneath our feet? Tell me, will we starve with fertile land beneath our feet? This is not hypothetical, it's prophetic. What's the path forward? What do? We remember. We remember the taste of real food. We remember the rhythm of the market. We remember the power of the soil. We remember that sovereignty begins in the stomach. And then we act. Support local farmers with real investment, not lip service. Educate youth on ancestral agriculture and food preparation. Regulate imports with stricter health standards. Launch public campaigns to revive local eating. Create incentives for restaurants and vendors to source locally. Reclaim school feeding programs with Jamaican produce. This is not nostalgia, it's strategy. It's not anti trade, it's pro survival. Jamaica must feed itself again, not just for health, but for memory, not just for economy, but for identity, not just for today, but for the generations to come. Because every imported bite is a vote for sickness, for forgetting, for dependence. And every local bite is a declaration for healing, for remembering, for freedom. This bulletin is not just commentary, it's a correction, a ritual reminder that the land still remembers. Even if the palate forgets, Jamaica is poisoning itself, but the antidote is already growing in the backyard, in the bush, in the market stall. The question is, will we eat it? Will we take the antidote? This was a Skywalker no nonsense bulletin. Thanks for watching.